Hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to week three, where, in the grand scheme of things, week three will always week three in the Big Brother SS world. The bar was set so low before the season that, like, this week three was like, ooh, the game is finally starting. But it still holds true, I guess, like in the grand scheme of things. We had an epic blindside that was totally unnecessary, but epic nonetheless. Um, and definitely some shifting scores. I have got like new favorites, new people that I'm eyeing. Some people have like greatly fallen for me, some people have greatly risen. And last week, where I was like, this is just gonna be the boring pre jury, where it's gonna be Trista in week three, and then Helene in week four, and then maybe Isaiah in five, I think is out the window now. I think we've seen a major shakeup, and I'm excited to see where this season goes from here because of the events of this week. Stephen, any overarching thoughts before we dive on in?
No, what a crazy, unexpected week. I feel like it was such a good change of pace from what we were expecting. Um, and let's just dive right in.
Amazing. Cool. We're starting with Adrian. Or actually, first, let's just check in with the draft because this is a fun thing that we can do every week now. Oh, Stephen lost another person. Ah,
Surely I won't lose another next week.
um, never say never. Okay, now we can move forward. Starting with Adrian. Um, I'm I'm losing my patience. I'm losing my patience with this man. Adrian, I need you to wake up and start actually caring about your own game. I think that Adrian is very quickly falling into the pattern of like, he is the epitome of someone that thinks the best move for his game is to just lay low, and that laying low means like just doing what the house wants, and that'll like coast him by. And I'm like, that's false. That is unequivocally false. Um, I think Big Brother is a very individual game, and you always want to make the move that maximizes your own individual game. Um, and this week, of the three nominees, like he sent in a DR that was like, "Oh no, I had to send home my seventh closest ally," and I'm like, "Yeah, but the other two nominees were people that you were even less close to. The six people that you have above that, I'm assuming, are the people that you are like in this alliance with, Kraz J, um, who three out of four of them all texted separately and said, we actually want Adrian out because he contributes nothing to the game talk, to the group, to the anything. Vince was someone that I think actually like did trust Adrian. And the amount of times that like Adrian has, it happened in the Muhammad week and it happened this week, sent in a diary and being like, I want Vince to stay. I think that's best for my game. Talks to one person who says the opposite. And then he's like, you know what? Yeah, all that Vince. It's like, did you even think about anything? Did you actually use any brain power into the decision that you made? So on top of him making just, I think like not even like thinking about his decisions and then making the wrong ones. I just think he's not thinking about his decisions. He's just like doing what he's told. That on top of the fact that like the people that he ranks as his 1 through 6 allies, Kayla and Jen and Zoe and like everyone is talking about like he's not doing anything. I would love to put him up and see him go. Um, so for that reason, like I am certainly lowering my score, and like I am docking further just for like, in my opinion, the poor decisions this week. So I'm going down to a 3. I do not care. You could argue a 4, but I won't. It's
Yeah,
a
I think
3.
I think I'm gonna go for a four. Um, and just a disclaimer here, I feel like I've been a little out of check this week. So my scores might be affected by that, but I feel like Adrian right now, I think there are bigger people to have out than the people who people want out because they're not contributing much. I think there's a queue of people to be nominated. Um, but still, I don't think he is contributing much of his own input into the things that he wants to have, the decisions that he's making. He's not considering the outcomes for him and trying to push hard to stick with that, which on one hand I can understand. It's like if this is something that maybe you're not as used to playing, like you want something to happen, but you worry that if you push against the house, there's going to be a spotlight on you. I get that, but this is going on like several times now where he is easily convinced by somebody else. Um, I don't think he's like, I think he'll be okay for now. So that's why I'm at a 4. But I felt pretty similarly last week and feel like week 2, a 5 was okay for that. Um, but now that we're in, I made a worse, more poor decision in week 3 now, heading into the end of the pre-jury. I think I'm low into a 4.
Yeah. Yeah, as you show the graph here, I agree that like I think there is that idea that like pushing for something will like put the spotlight on you. I think that's a very Survivor. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think that is true in Survivor. If you like lead the vote or push for what you want, the spotlight's on you and then you can go home next week. The difference with Big Brother that I think people really fail to realize is like, okay, if you push for something that you want to have happen, Big Brother is really a game of odds. And you want to keep as many people that won't put you on the block as possible and like actively work to make that happen. Because if some, it doesn't matter if the spotlight's on you, if you have allies around you that are on the same page as you, they're not going to put you up and then you can't go home. So like it is definitely a little different. And I think taking risks in Big Brother to make moves happen, you're not then going to be immediately looked at next week by default if you've insulated yourself correctly. And I think by proxy, by not Big Brother's a game where you have to be active in. If you are passively just like appeasing people to like, look, like I'm gaining trust with you by like being on your side. And it's like, yeah, but if the vote all of a sudden is 8-1, then that means nothing because everyone was on the side and you're not in the alliance, Adrian. Like, so that's yeah, that's the only thing.
All right, let's move on here.
Andrew. Um, Andrew, for me, has actually probably been the person that has been most consistent this season in that I like a lot of what he's doing. He's got a lot of good individual bonds going. And that those bonds have turned into groups here and there. And that's great. I do think he is like everybody's second tier of priority, which for right now, I do not hate that his spot in the game for that. So I certainly don't have many negative things to say there. Um, I think he does actively think about the game and he does give input as to what he thinks is best while balancing also like seeing where the tides are going. And I think that's the difference between Andrew and Adrian's style of like gameplay is like they're both people that I think that have generally gone with the numbers. Adrian is someone that will like be pushed by the tide, and Andrew is someone that will like step back, assess what's best for him, see where the tide is going, and then like how he can either move with the tide or push against it if he needs to. Like he is definitely much more methodical about it. Um, and for Andrew, I think Vince going probably was good because people were like subconsciously tying them together for a little bit. Um, so yeah, all of that to say, I am probably gonna be landing at my 5 again for Andrew.
Mm.
I think he's in like a precarious position of like I don't think I can quite raise it to a green score because he's not enough in on the in for me quite yet. Um, but he's certainly not on the outs and he's doing good work. And I don't hate his position in the game. So yeah, it's very like middling safe 5 for me.
I agree. I think middling save 5 is a good way to put it. And I do think that he does have these connections with people that I think will be helpful as we move into the end of the pre-jury. I think we're seeing that like coming out of last week where he was nominated and had the battle pass and all that. I feel like he is making plans for the future with people, which I really enjoy seeing, and I think that he, I think, could be here to stay for a little bit.
I
Um,
agree.
and I think he's just like a cool presence, like a calm presence that I think people enjoy talking to, while also having a strategic mind as well that people can run ideas by. I'm gonna be staying at my 5, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start going up soon.
I agree.
Okay, Bryce.
Bryce. I mean, last week I was at a 7. Steven was
Hmm.
at a 5. Um, I know, Steven, you said you were away for this week, so you couldn't like see everything that was happening. Um, I feel very justified in my score.
That's fair.
Um, and will I've for context, we're a little past Vince's eviction, so I am gonna stick to what I have written down here. Um, but for me, Bryce this week really solidified for me that he is in a phenomenal position in this game. He's got the Not the House Chat group with Justin, Ryan, Kellen, and Zoe. He's got the Frogs group with Jen, Kayla, and Andrew. Um, and I just named like the only people that I didn't name in that group of people there were like what? Trista, Helene, Rachel, and Adrian, who I think probably are universally like the four people on the bottom of the house right now. Um, in addition, I think the two people that, as we've been saying in these rankings, that have been like most concerned about Bryce and could be the ones to be his eventual ender, lost so much social capital in the game this week. I've never seen two people like tank so poorly in the span of 1 week. Honestly, from being at the near top of the house to now in very precarious positions. Um, Great. Do I think that Bryce should have flipped the vote to send Vince home? No, I actually don't. And that's why I'm inevitably not going to be raising my score to an 8. And I will be staying at my 7. Um, but he is like very well insulated, very well liked. No one is talking about coming for him. And I think his cards are pretty close to his chest. If anything, after executing this flip with people like Kayla and Jen, I think that like does like bond you closer with them. And now I think more people are feeling even better about Bryce exiting this week, even though the move maybe didn't benefit him the most it possibly could have.
Yeah. As a refresh, I think the reason I was so low, or I know the reason I was so low on Bryce in week 2 was because of his decisions with the battle pass. So I wasn't expecting that to be like a downward trajectory, but I did feel like it was justified to dock more in week 2. Um, I think for this week, I am going up. I'm only going to go up to a 6. I think that he we've been saying since the beginning has been making himself such a presence in the house, and since his HOH in week 1 and his battle pass antics in week 2, I feel like he has really like, even though he's still this big presence in the house, he has moved out of like the center spotlight a little bit, which I think is really good. I do think I still am seeing people be like, Bryce is going to win this game if there's not something to do, which, like, again, is not like no one's actively targeting him right now, but I know that people are keeping him in mind. Um, I think once we go more into week 4 rankings, we'll talk a little bit more about Bryce, but for now, I'm going to be at a 6.
Very nice. So that is a 6.5 for Bryce, the highest he's been at all season.
Moving on to Helene.
How who's Helene? I only her legend. I fucking love Helene. And Helene this week finally, not that she wasn't here to play before, like she clearly was here to play from week 1 when she was like pushing for Muhammad to stay. Um, but finally this week, Helene was able to find some solid footing with people that want to play with her. And that is huge. She walked into this week as the house target, as the next person that was just going to be. Actually, no, I would say it was Trista, but Helene is right there behind her. Um, and as soon as Trista won the veto, Helene was like right there up in danger. She found the battle pass, which is amazing. She did lose the competition, which should have on paper been really, really scary for her. However, she put in the work with the right people and is now in some like has a footing to move forward. For that reason, I will be certainly raising my score. The only downside is, especially on a season like this so far, on when you've got three nominees each week, once you've been up on the block once, it is super easy for people to keep throwing you up. And especially if it's someone that wins HOH that is not really rocking with you. And while she does have some solid footing now, it really is only 2 to 3 people that are really rocking with Helene. So while that is a great base camp, it's not a great foundation. So I do think she needs to like work to grow that rapidly. She said a lot of great things and is making a lot of great points, but I need to see that go into action. So all that to say, in combination with the fact that she was on the block this week, I can't raise it too much. So it is going to be a 4 for Helene, but I will be raising it and I'm hoping it goes up in the future.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to be at a 4 as well. And I really think that, yeah, she has kind of come alive a little bit more in week 3. And I think she did put in the work with the right people, despite the flip not being directly all of her work. Um, I think she is really making those connections. And I'm really glad she stayed, honestly, in week 3. I think that she has more to give, and I hope she can give it. But it is a little tricky because with 3 nominees, there are going to be people who are just constantly thrown up, and I can't imagine that Helene would not be put up again in the future where there are 3 nominees.
I think Helene gets put up on every single person's HOH with the exception of currently Isaiah, Kayla, and Jen, and Trista.
Speaking of Isaiah,
Boy, I want so much more for Isaiah in this game. But he got put up on the block this week. And I think started to like spiral. And kind of lost sight of the game. And I think kind of this thing that like we said just a second ago with like there being 3 nominees. Now that like that threshold of being on the block has been broken and he doesn't have a lot of solid allies. Like his solid allies are Rachel and Helene. He thinks Justin's really with him. It's not true. Um, so I'm like, it's just not good. I thought there was a very easy world where he ended up getting the boot this week. As soon as Trista won that veto, and I knew that Helene had the battle pass, like I was like, this is not looking good for Isaiah. This is not looking good for Isaiah. And luckily things did flip, but like where we were saying, like Helene wasn't maybe like the full part of that flip happening. She was a very solid chunk of it. Like I would credit Helene with getting Kayla and Jen's votes and like being able to really lock in with them. And then Bryce being against Vince was like the other kind of catalyst of that happening. Um, Isaiah had 0% to do with this. Like there was no part of this that was Isaiah flipping the vote to save himself. It was all other people that just wanted Vince out or wanted Helene to stay. Um, so yeah, I think he's just kind of slipping in the game. I was at a we were both at 4s last week, and for me, I see no reason to not lower. He was on the block. He could have gone home. I think he put up a bad sporadic campaign. No shade, Isaiah. Love you to death. But for all those reasons, I'm gonna lower my score to a 3 for Isaiah this week.
um, honestly, with not seeing much this week, I think I'm going to follow your lead with the 3 here. Um, Isaiah to me hasn't been one that has been like standing out when I'm reading messages, so I'm following your opinion and what you say this week for Isaiah. The 3. And I worry he has consistently been campaigning for the unpopular things that I worry could get him into trouble.
Very that. Correct.
So 3 for Isaiah. Jennifer.
Jennifer. I do really like Jen. And I think she's in a good spot in the game. And that's awesome. She was in on this flip. She was a part of making it happen. That's great. But I think that Jen, the biggest thing holding her back is like she needs to trust her game abilities and kind of like, in my opinion, has like Adrian syndrome of like, oh, just like doing whatever she's told. A little less so because she has people like Kayla there being like, no, we don't have to just do what people tell us to do. But like Jen and Kayla were both independently talking, right, about wanting Vince to go. They go to the frogs to be like, what are people thinking for the vote? Andrew says, I think Isaiah would put me up. Jen immediately goes back to Kayla and is like, well, votes aren't there. And it's like, Jen, that was one person's opinion. You haven't pushed anything. What do you mean? It took Zoe. Like Kayla has been telling Jen this whole time. It's like, no, like I want Helene to stay. If you're on board too, I know Trista wants it to happen. Like there are numbers there. It took someone else coming to Jen, being like, I think I want this to happen, for Jen to be like, oh, this could happen. I need her to trust in her own allies and her own game and the ability to push for things to happen more before I raise my score further. With that said, she's in a great spot. She was in on this vote flip. People are coming to her for stuff. She's been a key vote and making things happen. And as these sides begin to form, she is someone that I do see as becoming crucially in the middle. So I'll be curious to see where her score goes from here for me. But until I'm like more down with the actual game decisions and navigation, I'm not going to raise my score. So it is going to be a 6 for me again for Jen.
And that's fair because I'm going to be at a 6-2. Um, I think she has wonderful drive in this game to communicate with several different sides of the house and people in the house to really understand and formulate a plan. I think she still is developing that same kind of idea of I want something to happen and I want to make sure that I'm not spotlighting, I think. Uh, but I think I think the connection she has kind of overpowers that a little bit as opposed to some of the other people we talked about before. I do like Jen's spot. I think she's pretty solidly like to the jury, I would say.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
I think she's here for a little bit. I think we could be seeing Jen more towards the end if she can kind of keep this up. So I'm gonna go with 6 as well.
Alrighty, so that is a 6 for Jen.
Okay. Justin.
Justin.
Joe, you
I've literally got to say that. Justin is actually the person that I had the toughest time coming up with a score for this week.
hmm.
Ultimately, I am going to stay at what I had in my notes here. And that is a 6. Ultimately, I do think that Justin is someone that has gotten very comfortable. And at the very tail end of this week was when he was really like clued into this Vince flip happening. And he was like, wait, I don't like that. And there wasn't much that he could do about it. And when I thought about what he could do about it, was the first time that I realized I was like, kind of similar to what I've been saying about Kellen of like, this group has been great, but outside of the group, how much sway do you really have? I was really thinking about this specifically with Kellen before. And this is the first time I started thinking about it for Justin. I was like, how much pull do you actually have? He does have Rachel and Isaiah, which is huge for him, who do really think that they're together. Um, and there's a few other connections here and there, but I'm worried that his position could definitely begin to slip if like one thing goes badly for him. Um, so it is a 6 for me this week because I had Kellen at a 6 last week, and I kind of feel similarly to Justin this week as I did Kellen last week. So I'm gonna sit with it there. However, I like could have justified a 5 for me, but it's gonna be a 6.
I'll stay at my 6 as well. I think for now he's fine. I think he's got good allies. I do agree with you, like with the vote flip. Um, that I don't think he has as much influence as I was previously thinking. Um, but I think he's in a fine spot for now. Period. Cool. Kayla.
I, till kingdom come, will be apologizing to my friend Kayla for letting her get to the last fucking pick of the draft. What were we thinking? What was I thinking? Because Kayla, when I said like I had like new favorites emerging, like I definitely like I was big Kellen and Ryan fans in the beginning. I loved what Bryce has been doing. Scrap all of that. Kayla, I want you to win this game. Oh my God. Kayla is just impressing me left and right. One, socially, I think she's doing the best in the house. She is consistently the person that is talking to people the most individually and in the groups. She's in all of the groups except that main one that started the game, um, which has really been the thing that's held her back the most so far. However, now looking ahead into this week, she's got a great relationship with Zoe after them two like really it was Zoe and Bryce that started, and then Kayla was looped in as like the other puzzle piece to really make this flip happen. And Kayla was the one that is really pulling together Helene and Trista and Isaiah. And I think moving forward is going to be like this linchpin of a new group pushing forward. In addition to that, though, I don't think anyone is going to pin her for it because you have people like Isaiah and Helene that are kind of very vocally pushing for the other thing. Kayla does a great job at pushing for what she wants without making it seem like she is. She'll like throw out some facts as to like why she wants some things, but then we'll like throw in some fluff or nonsense and then talk about Pokemon. Like, you know what I mean? That's how you're able to do this well. Um, in the versus like Adrian or Jen who just like fold like a mop. Kayla will hear something and be like let's say someone came to Kayla and was like, I would like Helene to go. Kayla's response has typically been like, oh, okay, so true. Like, yeah, like I really would be fine with that. Like, I mean, it could be good to keep her though. Like, I am down, but like it could be good. And then like starting a conversation about like actually the pros and cons instead of just being like, yeah, I agree. And then just having it die there. That's what people like Jen and Adrian and stuff do. If it's not immediately on their side, they shut down and they don't continue the conversation. Kayla consistently has. And it's why I think Kayla is one of, if not the most well liked people in the house.
For
It
sure.
was on a call that Bryce was on with Zoe that he did clock. He was like, I mean, I feel good with Kayla and like I'm super happy to like make this move with her. I think everybody feels really good with Kayla. So like it's not going unnoticed. And specifically by Bryce, I haven't seen it brought up by anyone else. But again, I don't think there's anything that you can do about that right now. So I will certainly be raising my score. I will be giving Kayla a 7 as well. And I hope that that continues to soar through the roof because I love watching Kayla play this game.
I know she really is talking with everybody. I feel like she makes her rounds every day to reconnect and check in about votes, about ceremonies, about competitions, how we're feeling. Um, and I haven't seen like one person say anything bad about her. I think she's here to stay for a while. I think Scott tricked me on the draft,
I can't
and
believe this. I'm so proud of her.
I can't believe it. Um, so I'm gonna go up to a 7 as well. I'm really excited for Kayla to see where she goes this season. And maybe it's to season 20. Who knows?
Yeah, I love that. Like for me, this season is equal parts enjoy season 19 and also like who's gonna be the person to get the season 20 spot? Who or maybe people, who knows?
Yeah.
Um, but anyway,
Okay, Kellen.
Kellen. Oh, my diva. Um, her and Ryan were in power this week. Ryan was in power this week. This should have been a huge opportunity. Being HOH, I'm talking as if Kellen was HOH. Kellen was not
Yeah.
HOH, to be clear. But like for them as a duo, talking about them as a duo for a moment, should have been a huge opportunity to really lock some shit in. Instead, we got like a lot of non-active stuff. And like starting on the day of Emma's eviction, I thought Emma disappeared. I think we kind of disagree on this. It was like she she's been gone for a moment now where like even like heading into this vote, all that I saw from Kellen was like as the vote flip was talked about happening, Zoe and Ryan were like, "Oh, we can get Kellen. Hey, Kellen, you can do this?" She was like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Great." And I'm like, I don't love that. I don't love that because yes, she was on the right side of it, but she really was just used as a number. The other people like Kayla and Jen didn't really talk about her like at all as being a part of this. And I think that now that this other, like the thing that has been saving Kellen most so far in this game is the fact that there has been like one really solidified group and then these kind of bottom feeders on the other side. Now those bottom feeders have kind of like solidified up. And all of a sudden, Kellen is looking like majorly the inactive one on the other side.
Yeah.
She has numbers around her that I do think would be unwilling to let her go. So I'm certainly not out on Kellen's chances by any means, but I am certainly no longer in a green field of thinking. So I will be lowering being able to coast with this group. I think those days are
Sorry,
over.
wait, Scott. What you cut out there? Um, the last I heard was I will be lowering my score to a.
Mm. I will be lowering my score to a 5, and it is only to a 5. Because I do think she has some numbers around her. However, I do think that like as the game progresses here, she looks like one of the less active people that like this group is only going to take her so far and she really has nothing else going for her. If you look at the grand scheme of things, if I listed off Kellen's connections, I would list Zoe, Ryan, Justin, and Bryce. And I would not name a single other person in the game. And if that other side is able to solidify something, her number will continue to drop for me. So it's going to be a 5 for me for this week. There's still time, but I am losing faith in Kellen.
I don't think we are disagreeing too much here. I think that I do agree. I think she came out hot in the first few days, and I think she kind of burnt herself out a little bit. I do know just from knowing her that I think this weekend slash going into this weekend was pretty complex. And I think trying to manage a week where she knew where she was going to be safe versus her other responsibilities, I think she let her other responsibilities take over. Um, I don't necessarily think that she is burnt out and will no longer be actively playing like she was in weeks 1 and 2. Um, but I am lowering my score to a 5 as well because I do agree with you that her connections are really this main alliance that I think will be broken up relatively soon. Um, and Kellen's gonna have to make some new allies if she really wants to continue playing the game in a good position. So 5 for Kellen. All right, Rachel.
Okay. Rachel, this is going to sound like such a read. This is going to sound like such a read. I'm confused how she wins so many games. Every game that I've seen of her, she's won.
That literally can't be interpreted another way than a read, to be so honest.
Yeah, no, I know. And I don't mean it as like a read because here's the thing. I do still think that Rachel like could win. She is someone that has connections and the ability to float. Like I could see her scraping by, but it would be that of like scraping by and no one's really looking at her and not like she's like doing like anything. Um, the best thing that I can say for Rachel is this week she had the correct read of like, oh crap, I all of a sudden was looped into this vote flip that is just like happened, and I was literally the last one to find out about it. That can't mean good things. And I'm glad that she has the sensibility to realize that that can't mean good things. Um, so that does make me optimistic for Rachel. Um, and hopefully that can only mean good things. Surely it can't mean bad things if she were to win power. Like she would know that she's probably on the bottom. Surely. So I was at a 4 last week for Rachel. You were at the 5. And I certainly see no reason to go up. I am not high on Rachel's chances, but I also don't see a ton of reasons to go down. The biggest reason I would say to go down is like she was on the outs. But at the end of the day, Vince is someone that like she really didn't have much of a connection to. Isaiah stayed. And I think there is like a direction for her game to go. So I'm just gonna stay at my 4 for Rachel here, but I hope that she's able to take this sign that she's on the bottom and run with it and not drop the ball. Surely she wouldn't drop the ball. She's a very capable player. Rachel Lefko. Steven, your thoughts?
Right. Um, I was at a 5. I'm gonna go down to a 4. I think while her being left out of specifically the Vince vote was inconsequential for it being Vince, I do think that's not great when you're like one of the only people left out of the vote who's being told last minute what's going to happen. Um, she's not really like as actively involved as I would like her to be to see her move up a little more. And we'll see. I mean, we'll see how Rachel takes this idea of being left out of the vote and which
Mm-hmm.
how she reacts to it. Foreshadowing, we already know. Cool. Ryan.
Alrighty. Ryan is someone that I have been singing the praises of for 2 weeks straight now. And because I have been praising them, praising Ryan so much, I do not feel bad about the fact that I am about to go poo poo poo
The
Ryan.
choir is being cut off. No more funding for the choir that is singing praises.
No, no more funding for the choir. The arts cut. Um, the yeah, not so unimpressed. So unimpressed this week, Ryan. Um, and I think that he has no idea that he really dropped the ball here, which is the other unfortunate thing that is making me, I think, like feel even worse about it. He saw the two HOHs before him make the move of the people that I talk to the least will go up on the block, and that'll be that. Great. I think the move that he made this week of putting up the people that he did was totally fine and justified. It's the way he went about it of not talking to literally anybody about it, let alone some individual outside people like um, Andrew or Adrian or Kayla that you have like good relationships with, let alone your big group chat with people like Bryce and Justin, who you're theoretically really working with, let alone your literal closest allies in Kellen or Zoe. There was literally no texts to bounce ideas off of. Here's what I'm thinking. It was literally like, I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait to see if anything happens. Oh, no, nothing happened. Okay, 30 minutes before, hey, allies, I'm going to do this. Okay, well, what am I supposed to do with that? Literally everybody in the game, with the exception of Kellen and Zoe, was talking about like, Ryan is not making me feel good about this. I feel like I could go up now. I'm not being let in on any plans. I don't love the decisions he's making. Some of them are saying that. And the fact that like Vince was so blindsided, I think also left people feeling like, am I actually as good with Ryan as I think? Um, so like major marks down for me. I'm not impressed. I think that especially as this other group begins to solidify, if they're able to moving forward, um, certainly not as in bad of a position as someone like Helen, but I do think is like kind of also not loved by everyone right now. Um, and I find it so interesting because I think an HOH is a huge opportunity to lock down allies. And he literally did the opposite. He literally took all of the close allies that he had and like got them thinking like, damn, I'm really not as close with him as I thought. So for all those reasons, I will be lowering my score to a 5 right alongside Kellen. I thought this was not a good week for Ryan.
I was gonna go down to a 4, but
The reason I didn't is because
it's
no, his
too,
name has still not come up.
and that's what I'm seeing too. It's like nobody is like, I'm targeting Ryan because of this.
For me, he
But
went from like the top position in the
yeah,
game to like, wow, you really just middled yourself out and are no better or worse than all of these other average people.
yes. I mean, I think people are a little sketched out by him now, specifically Kayla.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna give him a five. Sorry, I have to be careful
Um,
with my volume.
oh, that's right. Totally in the same room or same complex.
Same.
Ryan is right off camera. Everyone say hey to Ryan. No, no, no. Um, yeah. Yeah, I am not the highest on Ryan's chances after seeing how he played the game this week.
I don't know if I would say, well,
I don't mean positionally. I mean based off of how he played, I am concerned about like
yeah,
how
we
like
will play in the future. Yeah. Okay. Trista. Okay, can I talk about Trista? Can
I'm
I
obsessed with her.
let me give you the rundown of what happened in this week's veto competition. I get on Zoom with the six veto players. The idea of the veto is you turn your back to the camera, you solve a jigsaw puzzle. When you turn around, you see a trivia question that has, for the first round, five correct answers and one incorrect answer. The idea is to select one of the answers. The person who has the incorrect answer is eliminated, theoretically, being the person who is the last to complete the puzzle should get the incorrect answer by default if everybody else is correct. Trista, the first two rounds, everybody locks in. And honestly, not even after that short of a time. Like the fourth and fifth people like take several minutes to do it. The first two times, everybody submits. I'm like, Trista, everybody's submitted. You can turn around now. Here is your default answer. Both times someone is eliminated based off of an incorrect answer. I'm like, okay. The third round happens. I can't remember what the order people were eliminated, but another person gets it wrong and is eliminated. Trista has not submitted a single puzzle yet. Final three. It is, oh my God, who is it? Ryan,
It was
Trista, and
and Andrew.
Andrew. Yeah. Ryan gets he says that uh I think he said spam was an acronym or whatever was incorrect.
Yes, yes, spam was an acronym.
He gets it wrong. Trista is now in the final round without doing anything except turning around and turning back around. She gets to the final round. I think Andrew threw it. To be really honest, I think Andrew threw it. Trista wins the power veto potentially for the first time in franchise history. Wins the veto without doing anything, literally except for being on Zoom and turning around and back around again. I think the greatest one of the greatest competition wins we've ever had. It was so funny. I like literally could not contain myself on Zoom. Um,
She's everything to me.
and
She
if that happened to like I don't know, this is no shade. If it happened to like Adrian, I'd be like, oh, okay. It's just like that it happened to Trista. It's like it's like part of her personality and like her game appeal. I think it's just so funny.
Trista's ability to and actually like let me give Trista some more credit here. In weeks one or two, like really did not leave much to
Yeah,
be desired. After week two was like literally clocked and said to some people and was like, okay, great. But as soon as Emma's gone, I'm the new Emma. Like
mhm.
clearly, right? Like just so we're all like, that's what's happening, correct? And she was like, that's not going to happen to me. And she stepped up her game and started talking to more people. Some people saw that and took the lifeline that Trista was offering by being like, yes, let's work together. Um, she walked ass backwards into a veto win, which is incredible. Um, and now I think is going to be able to not pick up steam. I don't think that's really what I'm looking to say,
Get
but
her
like
initial footing.
kind of like literally kind of similar to Helene. I do for this week, I do have to stay at a three. I do have to stay at a three because realistically, like I don't leaving week three, I don't know who the hell doesn't put Trista up on the block. And
Watch
she
out.
also love her to death from a viewership standpoint, iconic that she's like, no, I'm voting Isaiah. because fuck
Yeah,
Isaiah.
yeah. She was like,
But like,
she was like,
there wasn't a lot of knocking in the game. Yeah.
when I was on the block, I asked Isaiah to be in an alliance and to vote with him. And you know what? He blew me off. And now he's on the block and asking for my vote. So no, fuck you. No matter what happens, I am voting Isaiah. I don't care if everybody else is voting someone else. I am voting Isaiah. I have to say my three as well. But um, I mean, what a great moment. And I really hope she can like scrap up the ability to stick around until the jury. I would love to have Tristan on the jury.
Oh my God. If
You know
Trista
what?
makes the jury,
I'm
I
gonna say I would love Trista to go very far, especially if she continues, if it
same.
moves upward. Like I have no problem with Trista winning this season if she's able to pick it up and make more
I
kind of.
would actively root for it.
And when Trista Reddick is on season 20,
I don't know who that is. I only know Trista Jorgensen.
Trista Jorgensen.
As Eliov has texted his arm, he was like, Trista Jorgensen is going to win this season, and it really is the Kelly effect. I mean, Trista has not volunteered for the block, but it really is like people are
And
going to
Trista's
keep
not
putting her up,
annoying as
but she's
hell.
just like not going to go home.
Trista Kelly Jorgensen, it was so annoying.
Yeah, that's true. Let me not compare Trista to Kelly, but I think eventually it will be the effect of
But I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
like who is going if Trista keeps saving herself and staying, like who's going to be like, all right, let me really use this week to get out Trista. Like,
Mhm.
I think that effect will go away. So we'll see.
Especially in a week when we start having two nominees.
Yeah,
Hopefully soon.
he only has to survive two more. So
Okay, Vince.
Vince, ooh, this was rough to watch, and not necessarily for Vince's sake, but for what happened to Vince here. But it's kind of is the exact accumulation of everything that we've been saying over the last two rankings. So I don't need to harp on this too much. This really was the effect of, I think people saw through Vince as being a little fake, a little too cheery in all of his conversations, and a little too eager to like make a lot of alliances with throwing out a lot of names of who he trusted. And thus, he definitely thought that he was in a better position with everyone than he actually was. And that is where you will get into trouble with Big Brother. He did not have everyone actively telling him, like, yeah, I'm voting to keep you. There was just a lot of like, I think expected, like, oh, and now like Helene will go home. Um, and that's obviously not what happened. I just think that things really caught up with him, and that's kind of that. So I don't think that he did anything explicitly wrong to get himself sent home. Um, so I don't think I can justify the one here. Um, but he really is not deserving of a three, which is like, wow, like you really were robbed here. Like, no, this is kind of just like an accumulation of I think the things that happened, and now you're out of the game. So this is textbook two for me. So it is going to be a two for Vince from me.
Yeah, I would say if it was like a on placement, I would be considering a three a little bit more. It was a little bit of the sketchiness kind of built up for him to be nominated as a replacement. And then the vote kind of flipped onto him. I'm also gonna go with a two as well. I do feel really bad because I you could tell like how much he liked to be here and playing. Um, and he really just had no idea. Like that was almost like it was almost like a little sickening to watch. It was very cool to see a great vote flip, but like an 8 to 1 vote coming out that you have no idea about when you think you're safe, like that is so terrible.
This
And I feel very
this
bad.
may be like I can't think of another eviction vote
Yeah.
that came of this big of a blind side to someone. Like there are definitely people that have been like fighting tooth and nail to stay, and then it's like shit, I didn't get it.
Uh-huh.
But like a landslide vote where you like I think of literally like this was Jillian BB19 levels of like everyone was on the same page. That vote count came through, and Vince gave the do you know like the gif of her reaction that I'm talking about where she looks around and she's like, and it's like, no, babes, everyone was on the same page. I'm so sorry, but it's just you. Um,
But he sent a gift of Jillian.
look up Jillian's eviction from BB19. And like that's the idea.
He
He
sent
didn't send it.
oh,
No. I'm saying it was the same thing.
And
Um,
Helene sent a photo, a gif of Devon walking backwards into the house.
Oh my God. Helene is so like Helene just doesn't give a fuck. And that's why I also like want her to stick around for as long as possible. Um, anyway, yeah. All to say, Vince, pleasure having you on this season. Alas, it is cut short.
Yeah, I'm looking this up. I forgot. I forgot about Jillian. That's so funny.
Jillian, also the third person to be sent home from a season 19 of a Big Brother franchise.
True. Uh,
And maybe it's just meant to be.
Zoe.
Zoe. I I love Zoe.
She's kind of
Oh,
crazy.
she's a little crazy, but like that's not like honestly that is no longer the vibe that I get from Zoe. And I get the vibe that Zoe is just like here to play. She's here to actually play the game versus some people that are in her group say like I mean especially this week the HOH and the HOH is number 1 Ryan and Kellen. Zoe is actually here doing things, making waves, making connections. Um, to the point where it's like, let's say someone from their group of 5 went home, Zoe would be fine. If someone went home from the group of 5, like I think Ryan and Kellen are immediately like screwed. Um, so yeah, Zoe, all to say, like was in my opinion the number 1 person that got this vote flip together. Um, she wanted to make a move happen and like she did. And like there were definitely like people on board to make it happen, but like Zoe was the one to make everyone realize that the numbers were there. She was the person on the front lines and it was really impressive to watch. Um she has the backing of this group of 5. Um and now she has these other people that really like her. I'm very impressed. The only bad thing to come out of this week for her was the fact that I think it is going to quickly spread that like Zoe was the one to do this. And that's why when it comes to people like Kayla, like I am more impressed because it's like Kayla benefited from this maybe the most, and no one's looking at her for it. People are like, oh, Zoe just pushed this, but no one is like, we need to target Zoe because of it. That's the difference with Big Brother. No one is like, we need to target Zoe now, but people have clocked it and that's noting it. For this week, I'm rewarding the good gameplay, the impressiveness, and the fact that she made so many more bonds compared to the other people in her alliance as well. So I'll be raising my score and I'll be giving Zoe a 7 as well.
I think I'm gonna do that too. Um, Again, I think ditto everything you said. I think it's a great example of pushing for something that you know is right for you. I mean, you just said this, but and still being unafraid to campaign for that to other people. Um, I think she's doing really well. And what's really funny is that I was just in the car with Laura Menendez of PBS's 18 fame for probably 6 hours today. And she was like, Steven, now that Kellen is about to be evicted tonight. And I was like, well, I didn't say that. And nobody said that. I'm guessing Kellen who talked about it. What are Zoe's odds of winning? And I was like, well, I can't tell you that. And I'm not going to tell you anything. But that's where the conversation ended. And I thought it would be funny to.
For anyone from season 18 that are watching this, and by that I mean Gabby Greco, the if I laughed really hard when Zoe in a conversation was like, but enough about game. Tell me your rosebud and thorn of the day. I was like, she is Laura's friend. They are friends. Um,
Oh
so
my God.
that made me smile a
We
lot.
did do Rosebud Thorn multiple
Yeah.
times this weekend at the Lead of Laura. So that's her real personality. Okay, well, I'm sure
And that's
Laura
that.
I'm sure Laura will be getting this clip from Zoe. Uh
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
well we
this was good. A strong week. I'm now very excited to see where the game goes. I think the game is finally being woken up and is no longer just going to be this, let's pick the people off from the bottom. It feels like we will now be picking people off with intention, which is exciting, at least for most people. Some people will still just want to make the house happy, and I hope they go home. So yeah, that's that.
okay, see you tonight.
See you at a different week that is totally not later today. Goodbye.